You are listening to the Cinderbury Chronicles. Journey with us into the world of Copper Hollow.
Welcome to Copper Hollow, a rundown borough in the vast industrial city of Cinderbury. This is our second episode, so go back to the first if you haven't listened, as this podcast is chronological. Grab a cuppa and settle in. I'm P. Rose, narrator and voice of Amelia and Lily in today's episode.
And I'm Orphin, and I'll be the voice of Larkin and Representative Bronte in this episode.
Chapter 1. The Letter. Over the past year, there have been claims of tampered mail from prominent politicians and businessmen. Councilman Bronte addressed Parliament on the incidents. Quote,
I've highlighted this issue with the Postal Service 3 times in the last month. Something must be done about this. Confidential information is being seized, and not just what the Right Honourable Gentleman Ascot is sending to his girlfriends. This is a matter of national security. Should our adversaries gain access to this sensitive information, the security of our nation is at risk.
End quote. When will the Postal Service do something about this obvious law-breaking? It is believed that the thieves have been tampering with the birds' radio frequencies. When asked about this claim, the Postal Service refused to pass any comment. Teddy Fletcher of the Cinderbury Times. Down in the darkest crevice of Steel Edge's industrial district, a dumpy little workshop is sandwiched between 2 slouching brick factories. Rusted automatons wait outside to be seen to. Some read newspapers, others lean against the shop, 1 or 2 idly drum their fingers against their metal bodies. A young woman perches on a metal stool in the cluttered workshop. Her hips are wide, her legs are long. Her strong arms reach into an automaton. Grease covers her hands and smudges her lightly freckled face. Her red hair is tied up with string and dirt covers her rough blue boiler suit. Automatons stand around the workshop in a state of sleep, people made of metal. All the shapes are right, but the colours and textures don't quite fit. One sits awake behind her, weathered enamelled pink, with a fire burning in her belly, reading an old tattered novel. She's more human-looking than the others, shapely, like the enviable young women from the adverts, and slightly damp from the night before. In the front room, at the entrance to the workshop, a balding, moustached man sits reading a newspaper and devouring a buttery, golden-brown toasted sandwich. The woman digs into the belly of a sleeping automaton, trying to catch a wire. Her arm weaves in and out of pipes and conduits as a low hum emanates from him as he sleeps. Her stomach grumbles as she searches, the smell of Tom's toasty wafting towards her. She finds herself yearning for the day she spent working at the orphanage, in her aunt's cushy workshop, where she could properly look after and treat the bots that came in. In Tom's workshop, new bots and regulars would come in day after day, mistreated by the factory owners, and she would simply have to service them quickly and send them back. Lily, are you still contracted? Amelia asks, as she burrows deeper into the slumbering automaton. God, I hope not. They took everything. There is nothing left to give, the pink automaton says, her voice rhythmic and smooth with a country lilt. They always find something. Do you have a family? Amelia asks, taking her head out to breathe. I do, but we're estranged. They don't really agree with automatons, or anything to do with the big city. Have your employers tried to contact you? I've been scared they might, but I haven't heard anything and it's been weeks. To be honest, they're probably glad to see the back of me. Lily looks down at her feet, fumbling with her book. I doubt that. Your model is fairly recent. Must have been a pretty valuable contract. But there's a place that you can go to be safe. The Right Orphanage. Have you heard of it? Amelia asks, diving back into the sleeping automaton. An orphanage? Like for kids? Not quite. Why don't we go and have a look in person? You don't have to commit, and it's better that you see it yourself. I won't do it justice. I suppose I don't have anything else to do. Amelia feels the wire under her fingers and clasps it triumphantly. She jumps in horror, dropping the wire, almost hitting her head off of the automaton. Something grips her ankle, tugging on it. Larkin! She whispers angrily, both annoyed and relieved. A young man lies on the ground, his hand reaching towards her ankle. He's covered in soot and dirt, with sharp features, muddy brown eyes and hair like a bird's nest. He crawls into a sitting position, his wiry body leaning against the automaton, long legs splaying outwards. You're not supposed to be here, Lark. If Tom sees you, he'll kill you, she whispers, keeping an eye to make sure he doesn't look over. Tom works her hard, and he had never liked Larkin coming to the shop. A distraction, he called him. In truth, she thought he was prejudiced. That he thinks a scrapper like Larkin would likely steal parts to sell to vendors.
Pfft, I was careful. Anyway, I found something for you.
He tells her with a raspy voice and a thick Common Coers accent. Already? She asks, always excited at the prospect of Larkin having something for her. He's the best scrapper around for finding odd parts, and Larkin comes with mates' rates. He tosses a small blue capsule to her. She looks at it in confusion, wondering why he would be bringing her one of these.
Something weird happened. I was walking down the road, and this falls in my head. Well, that's not new, I suppose. Punters are always after those birds. I picked it up thinking I could get a couple of pennies for returning it, only to see it was addressed to you.
She looks at the capsule. Amelia Wright is scrawled in familiar handwriting on the side. What would pigeon punters want with my mail? She questions, thinking they must have mistaken her for a diplomat. She shakes it off. Her lips hint at a smile. Her pale blue eyes squint and she pats him on the head. Thanks, Lark. She unscrews the capsule to find a curled up piece of paper. Unravelling it, she reads. Dear Amelia, I hope you are well. The bots have been asking for you. They've been having a bit of a hard time lately. Little John didn't come back from his rounds again. We're quite worried something has happened to him. Luckily, a kind man said he would look for him, so you stay focused on your work. Don't come rushing back here. You can't do everything, Amelia. You may be gifted, but even a Wright must know the fundamentals. No one gets anywhere on talent alone. Just keep your fingers crossed for us that little John will return soon. The donations have been slow this week, but Mr. Shah came by yesterday, the representative for the Golden Continent. I think he's going to donate. He was very interested in our cause, and he really liked Blinky. I know you and Larkin were looking forward to dinner on Sunday, but I think it would be best if you stay where you are this week. We are just so busy here again, and we know you are busy too. We wouldn't want to put you out. All our love, Auntie Ada and the bots. This is the third time her aunt has cancelled on her. She had been so looking forward to a good meal at the orphanage. Most days she just had beans on toast. Ada's cancelled again. Have you heard about anything going on in Copper Hollow? She asks Larkin, purposely leaving out the details of Little John. No need to worry Larkin too, and Little John is always getting himself into trouble. She only hopes it's not serious. The last time, he had gotten stuck on a roof. It had taken a day to find him. He frowns.
Was looking forward to Irene's cooking. Haven't heard from anyone up there in a while. I'll swing by the neighbourhood, ask around.
She shakes her head. I have to head up tomorrow anyway. Bring Lily to the orphanage. I'll find out what's going on then. She nods to the bot behind her, who feigns reading.
Oh yeah, I got your antenna,
he tells her, pulling it from his substantial pocket. She grabs at it greedily. You should have started with that. She looks to Lily and motions with her finger. Lily turns. Amelia slots the antenna into place, locking it in. Lily's eyes light up. She beams at Amelia. I can hear it. The music. It's faint, but I can hear it. Thank you so much, Amelia. You've no idea how much this means, she says.
What kind of bot are you?
Larkin inquires, looking up at her from the floor. It's rare for bots to look so human. Lily looks over at him, her glass eyes lit blue, a solid helmet of metal hair sitting on her head. Oh, I'm a street vendor. Amelia furrows her eyebrows. What about before you were an automaton? Were you always a teller? She inquires. I was a singer. I can't really do it anymore, though. Hard to sing when every part of you has a serial number. We were only really made to play the radio adverts and sell cigarettes to passers-by, she mutters, looking at the floor. Amelia parses her lips. You'd be surprised. She turns to Larkin. Ada could probably do something about that, don't you think? She asks. He nods.
If anyone could, it's Ida.
That was Copper Hollow, Chapter 1, The Letter. Hope you enjoyed it. This is part of the podcast series where we record the audiobook and you get to be the first ones to listen for the wonderful price of free. So, this is the second episode of us doing the book as a podcast. And I think it was a bit messy, this chapter, actually, trying to get all the voices in.
A bit is a very big understatement.
Yeah, I definitely struggle with the Irish accent despite living here for a number of years. I'm quite terrible at it. I mean, so Lily's kind of got an Irish accent, but it's like analogous to Ireland. It's not actually Ireland. So, we can kind of get away with things there.
Get away with it a bit.
And, the thing is, it's really weird for me because I grew up in Birmingham, but I moved to Ireland when I was 15. I've kind of got a no accent, not a real accent. I'm kind of this accent that you are hearing right now is a fake accent that I have made out of amalgamation of living in different places, and I just sound kind of weird. I mean, sometimes I come out Welsh. Genuinely, sometimes I come out Welsh, and I don't know how. I never lived in Wales.
Well, I mean, you bounce between sort of RP, Brummie, and a certain amount of Irish influence. Yeah, it's definitely in a neutral zone. But to be fair, I'm probably quite clearly Dublin, but I am somewhat neutral as well,
I don't know. You see, Dublin's weird. Because
Yeah, Dublin has a lot of different accents. I was just looking where Dermot Morgan, who played Father Ted, where he was from, and he's from Dublin as well. And I was trying to place him, and I thought, yeah, he's probably from South Dublin somewhere, but he honestly could have been as far out as sort of Kildare sometimes, it's hard to find.
It's so hard to tell. I mean, there's actually Dublin accents that sound American.
Yes.
I mean, even so, when we lived in London for a bit, sometimes my partner, his Americans would mistake him for being American. But, so and he's not got one of the worst ones either.
No,
he's not that
not
strong, but
really not at all.
he's quite neutral. I think he has quite a neutral.
Yeah, quite neutral and quite a strong kind of Irish accent. So it's not strong as in a heavy brogue, but just strong as in you definitely wouldn't mistake him for anything else in my hearing of it. Yeah.
Before we were recording, I was trying to get him to say things so that I could, and I'm like, it's he doesn't even sound Irish enough to do an impression of an Irish person.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't do an impression of him because people would be like, what is that? People wouldn't recognise it.
Yeah, and he's just got sort of a generic deep Irish accent.
That's part of the problem as well. And then my family, they're very dub. They'll say that, their THs are Ds, kind of thing, So I remember when I first moved over and I was sitting with my family and my cousin had said her garden pad, and I was like, what the hell is a garden pad? And she was saying path the whole time, and it took me a few minutes to actually know what she was talking about, and I interrupted and said, oh, your garden path, and the conversation had entirely moved on, but I had not understood it.
A long time after your brain processed that. The garden pad.
I was like, what? I'd already said what a few times to the point that I was like, I can't ask again. Yeah, 100%. And so I left it. And also, like, one of the things that I found, now in fairness, I am from Birmingham and it's known to have a bit of a slow accent, but moving here, it took a while for me to get used to the
there's a lot of Irish
of the
people
Irish
very
accent,
quickly.
you know.
Even myself.
Yeah, and some people have. I mean, I've developed it now. Like, this is me at like a fairly. I mean, I'm probably speaking a bit quick right now. Not for, and like this is easy for me, but like, you know, I could definitely, when I'm excited, I can speak a lot quicker than this. But didn't used to be.
Yeah, that's it. You can really up it a lot further than
Yeah.
that, 100%. It gets like an auctioneer
Yeah.
if you wanted to. And I think most Irish people are capable of that. Now, like, it's a funny thing because plenty of Irish people do have slower accents,
Yeah.
but mostly we speak at a pace.
Yeah.
And we tend to just forget that there are spaces between words, and sentences just become one giant word.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about this chapter. So obviously we were struggling with the accents a bit, and my apologies to the people of Ireland, not for the British stuff, because I've apologised for that enough, and you won't have me again. You're done with it. I'm not hearing it anymore. That wasn't me.
I do not
didn't
apologise. You deserve it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I've lived here long enough, I've heard everything, and I don't need another lecture, frankly. I'm pretty much as Irish as it comes, I just don't have the accent.
Yeah, it's actually funny because you are predominantly Irish in a lot of sense, like your two sides of a family from Ireland,
Yeah.
and you've lived probably mostly in Ireland, although it's pretty split,
It's
to be
pretty
fair.
split, but yeah, I lived here a lot, like a long time, and I've lived in different parts as well. Like I was in Waterford for a bit, Dublin, like, you know. But yeah, I think
Yeah, which is more than I can say. I mean, I've lived in Dublin my whole life, so.
But yeah, so there was definitely some struggles doing this chapter of the podcast, and we were discussing as well, like, should we do the voice for the excerpts and stuff, and maybe in this there will be voices, I don't know yet.
We'll see how the excerpts turn out. You'll definitely have to follow along in the podcast and maybe check out when we put it all together in the audiobook.
Yeah, it might, if you get the audiobook, it might sound a lot different to this, in fairness.
Yeah, and I think that's a general note as well, that we're going to try and keep it as true to the final form as possible, but at the end of the day, we're going to edit together as nice an audiobook as we can do.
Yeah, and like, again, we aren't professional voice actors. Like, we're just doing this from, I mean, if it counts the amount of times that I've read this story aloud, then maybe I am, but I haven't actually done it in a sense of like people listening to me and stuff. So,
No, I mean,
except for you,
really...
you're the only one who's listened to me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, to be fair, I've enjoyed it most of the time. You do a really good job, especially with the narration.
Thank you.
And even with a lot of the dialogue as well. I mean, I really think you nailed Amelia in this chapter.
Oh, thanks. Amelia is kind of inspired by Hermione in Harry Potter, her voice. Just because when I was a kid, I like kind of narrowed down her like horror in one of the scenes of Harry Potter, and that's an easy voice for me to do.
Yeah, you've got that point of reference. That is really an important thing as well. And hopefully, as we evolve this audiobook, we can keep some consistency. But if you're along for the ride, then you're going to hear how we evolve. And that's a good thing. Like, you're getting some insight into our voices for the characters.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm sorry if it changes from here. It probably will. I'm not gonna lie. It probably will change a bit. But you know, you can tell us which voice you think is good enough. If you don't think the voice is good enough, comment and tell us what we're doing wrong.
Absolutely, yeah. Just berate us in the comments, please.
Yeah, let us know. And yeah, so here we meet Larkin, but we've already met Amelia and Lily in the prologue. And Lily, the automaton that Amelia saved the night before. And
yes, so that's not explicitly
said,
but absolutely, this is what's implied.
Yeah, we tried to imply it. I don't know if you caught it. Hopefully you caught it. And so one of the things, so when we were writing this book, we used this app. It's called Critique Circle, right? And you get other authors to read your work and they point out things. And there was something that like I found really funny when we did that on this chapter, I remember. I think you'll remember that we did a short description of Amelia. And here, let me read it. Her hips are wide, her legs are long, her strong arms reach into an automaton.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody pointed out that we were sexualizing her. And I found that really strange.
That was sexual. Yeah, it is really strange, isn't it?
I mean, she's wearing a boiler suit. I don't know.
She's wearing a boiler suit, exactly. And also, I feel like, fair enough, the hips you mentioned, and hips historically can be very sexualized, but like strong arms, that's not really a classically feminine or sexualized element of a woman's body, you know. Like, oh, look at her arms, you know?
I know, right? So like, I don't know, I found it kind of funny, but I don't know, maybe somebody thinks we are over sexualizing.
Yeah, and her legs are long. I guess like long legs can be like an attractive element or culturally, but like,
we wanted to offset it with the
factual.
strong arms. It was like her hips are wide, her legs are long, her strong arms reach into an automaton. It was this kind of idea of like, you know, kind of contrasting that sexualization with like a woman who's willing to do her job, to get her hands dirty.
Deeply practical.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I don't know, let us know what you think. Did we overdo the description of Amelia? Grease covers her hands and smudges her lightly freckled face. We probably did write a bit much here, but I feel like what I really wanted to get across in this was that she's working hard. She does work that is difficult and tiring and manual. She's like a manual labourer.
Yeah, I mean, that was the strong arms, was absolutely to say that like she is not like petite, you know, she's a practical person. Yeah, she's doing hard work.
We didn't want to give her this idea of like her being, you know, I think this is a trope in a lot of women-led fiction, especially the likes of romance and stuff like that. But where, like, okay, so my pet peeve of this book that I read, encouraged by Book Talk, which I have a gripe with. I really don't like this book, and it's called When the Moon Hatched. Now, maybe some people love this book, but I found the writing to be quite terrible. And I'm sorry to the author, but one of the things that really annoyed me about it was that the protagonist changed how she looked constantly. Oh, she's really thin, but she's also really curvy, and she's like she never ever eats. This woman had an eating disorder. I don't know. It was crazy, and it was just this kind of thing where it was like I really didn't want Amelia to be this kind of like inhuman looking person. Like she's not just like thin, like thin as a stick and busty. Like you know, you have
absolutely, exactly.
You have one or the other. Like, come on. I mean, it like unless you've enhanced yourself most of the time.
Well, also whatever way other people are configured, that's fine. But I think just having somebody who's a really real human being, and one of the reasons we leaned into this description as well was to establish a really clear image early on of just what she looks like in the reader's head.
Yeah.
Because she's going to be there. I don't think we fixate on her looks for the most part in the book,
really.
Outside of what her fashion choices are, which are usually saying something about her.
Yeah, exactly. It's more about what's happening than the way she looks most of the time. So, you know, we wanted to just get it in early and make sure that you had an image of her. And the same with Larkin as well. Like we talk about Larkin, and he's quite tall, but he's scrawny, and he has this messy hair.
Yeah.
You know, Larkin almost
and again,
has this
it says something about him in a sense. Yeah.
street urchin kind of feel to him.
Yeah. And he's wiry. Like at the end of the day, he's kind of probably missed a few meals in his life, but he's tough.
Yeah, exactly. And we just. With Larkin, again, we didn't want to go for that picturesque, like, male physique type thing. We were trying to have this...
he's gangly.
Yeah, exactly. Like a real person. This is it. We wanted to just have, like, these real body types. And, again, like, we're very body positive kind of feeling. We're really sad about the way the body positivity movement's kind of died out. So we are very much on the side of body positivity here on the Cinderbury Chronicles podcast. That's what we're calling
Which
it.
is another thing is we wanted, yeah, absolutely, 100%. And we wanted to leave your imagination for what your Amelia,
Yeah.
what your Larkin is like. But at the end of the day, we thought we want somebody, a female protagonist that isn't like a stereotypical skinny,
Yes.
you know, like naughty's attractive person.
Yeah, we didn't want to
And-
over sexualize her again, like, as you know,
Yeah.
the
And same with Larkin. We didn't want him to
Yeah.
be He-Man. We didn't want him to be like handsome dude. He's just a real gangly guy. But he's not unattractive. The point
Yeah.
about both of them is that like we don't want to shun sexuality either. That's
No.
fine. People can have that element to the character. After all, this book will definitely have elements of romance, big elements
Yeah.
of romance
Yes,
in
it
it.
will.
So we're not afraid of that. It's just to try and keep it a bit more real.
Yeah, we
And-
wanted to normalize, like, one of the things that you see is that, some people, you see it with these young men especially, but this feeling of like they have to look a certain way. I know obviously young women have it in a big way as well, but it's slightly different in the sense
Absolutely.
that these young men are getting a bit violent over it, we see, and this idea of the chads and all this kind of stuff. And the young women then feel the need to change themselves and all this kind of thing. And the message kind of is, you're great exactly as you are. Don't let society tell you otherwise. Because, there's this feeling that we have where we're not good enough and we need to improve ourselves and the way we look and all that stuff. And like, look, I'm not saying don't have a bath. Like, please have a bath.
Absolutely,
But,
yeah.
like,
Don't smell, please, if you can avoid it.
Look after yourself, Take care of yourself. But at the same time, you don't have to change yourself cosmetically to be lovable. Like, it's
Yeah,
really
and I
not
think
about
it-
how you look. It's about who you are as a person.
And even when you say, like, look after yourself, a lot of people, I feel like that term has started to mean, oh, go to the gym.
No.
And I think that's nonsense. Like, and I'm not saying going to the gym is great.
Yeah.
Having a sport is great.
Yeah.
Doing exercise is great. Everybody should do as much exercise as they're comfortable doing. But at the end of the day, to be healthy, you don't have to go to the gym.
No, you don't.
And to look good, you don't have to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, just participate in life, have some hobbies, preferably some outdoor ones, and enjoy some exercise. That's fine.
But then
Once you
we
do
can
that,
see
you don't have to
the other
push the
side
limits,
with Lily and how she has been made into this unrealistic figure of a woman in the to sell things, right? And we're just kind of talking about the way that women are sexualized to sell products.
Well, this is, objectification
Yeah.
in a literal sense.
Yeah, exactly.
They have taken this young woman and turned her into a caricature
Yes.
of a young woman.
And so, like, that's the thing with Lily, is that, like, she has been put to use by corporations to make other women feel bad about the way they look and to make men idealize this unrealistic woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a manifestation of sort of that the woman has to be this way or you're no good, and same with I'm sure with the male figures as well, like.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think there's a lot of talk about just toxic masculinity in the book.
Yeah, we do talk about
and
that.
in general, just a lot of gender politics. It's one of the things that, like, we had a science fantasy setting. You have the opportunity to set this world in whatever way you want, but we actually chose to keep a lot of the negative stereotypes of the past in order to talk about them.
Yeah.
And to talk about the present as well.
Exactly. Like, something that I think is really important is for characters and societies to have flaws, because we need to be able to talk about them and hopefully we can improve upon them, right, throughout the story, the character arc. Like, this is an important part, that somebody has a flaw and then they make the effort to improve it. And look, we can do a lot with flaws. Like, something that can be seen as a positive can also be a flaw. Things aren't so black and white.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that needs to be leaned into as well, as there are always trade-offs.
Exactly. There's so many points in this where, like, Amelia is very very charitable, very kind, very giving, but does she look after herself? Do you know, those kinds of ways? Like, and Larkin is exactly the same, really.
Yeah, definitely. More so, I would say.
More so. So, you know, these flaws that we've included, they are purposeful. They are making a point, you know. We're not just throwing in these flaws for no reason. We want these
Yep.
things here to say
To say
something.
something, to communicate something about the character
Yeah.
or about the subtext of the book.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think it can be really easy to be like, oh, I don't like this because it's, you know, X, Y, and Z. Like, oh, it's creepy. Oh, it's weird. Oh, it's uncomfortable. Oh, it's sexualized. You know, all these kinds of things that you can say. And I want to say, maybe we're saying something about that. Maybe there's a reason it's there.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I'm not going to fall into the hole either, that, you know, with the Stranger Things stuff, where some people will be like, oh, everything is a message. You know, Taylor Swift did this, and then, the whole white supremacy.
Yeah, some things just end up being set dressing, and
Yeah.
building a world that feels believable is just describing
not-
things
not
around you that
everything.
you haven't thought deeply about. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not going to pretend that I've been absolutely meticulous and perfect and everything has a secret meaning. That isn't what I'm getting at here. But if you give us a second to explain the flaws, or maybe have a think about the flaws and why they might be there, and you know, maybe we haven't thought about it enough. There's always the case that we've messed up, but also give us the benefit of the doubt, almost. Do you know?
Yeah, well, it's to say, broaden it, give all creative people the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
or all people the benefit of the doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the excess of, God, I hate to say this because I think it's so overblown at the moment, but like cancel culture, is we got to be careful how zealous we want to be, and
Yeah.
sometimes we're eating our own side as well, people that we'd agree with,
Yeah.
just because we want to be pure, you know. And I think
Exactly.
the world of Copper Hollow is gritty, and
Yes, it is.
it is a reflection of both the past and the present day, and that is not perfect. It really isn't.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, we are never going to write something, and no creative is going to write something from their own time that will be perfect in time immemorial, you know, and that
Exactly,
you
yeah,
will go
there'll be
on, and
things.
that people will look back and go, oh my God, they were so ahead of their time, and they wrote everything right. No, generally
No,
speaking,
they were just
I'll-
commenting on the current moment.
yeah.
Yeah, most of the time. And so yeah, that's kind of the case with pretty much any sci-fi, you know, any fantasy, anything like that. It's actually about now. It's not about the future.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's about
those
the
kinds of
themes
things.
that are in the subtext of the story, you
Yeah.
know, and the challenges and problems you're trying to address, you know.
Exactly, yeah. And like again, you know, we can talk about themes in depth, but honestly, when we write this stuff, we're kind of originally we're blue sky thinking it with ourselves. You know, there's this other curtains just blue kind of feeling, where like I think there is a deepness, like there is depth to the things that
Yeah.
we're trying to say, but also like, you know, sometimes we just choose a colour of a fabric because we like the colour. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. When it comes to certain superficial elements that can have depth and sometimes have fantastic depth in other stories, sometimes you just have to pick something, and it's
Yeah.
just set dressing. It's just creating a believable world, and there is no secret code in it. And sometimes, if you make everything a secret code, it can feel very contrived, you know?
It can, and it feels like, I don't know, you're trying too much.
Yeah.
I mean, it reminds me of, so there was, I don't mean to name call this person or anything, but there was somebody in our course years ago, and they would do these like massive
we met in
pieces of
college, yeah.
art. Yeah. And they would do these massive pieces of art, right? And then they zoom into the background and there'd be really detailed bits, but like you would never have zoomed in and done that, right? Like they would have made, you know, like because they were doing it on a digital thing, so you'd zoom in to see what was going. And like while that was amazing, you know, that they did that, it's one of those things where it's like it's not going to be appreciated, and it's
Yeah.
this idea of like you can do too much, you know, you can
Definitely.
you know go into too much detail and stuff in these things where you don't always need to. So
Yeah.
it's all about finding a balance.
This is the quality of abstraction, and one of the reasons why books are so fantastic is because you often build these pictures in your head, and they don't have to be complete.
Yeah.
They just flow. They flow from your imagination. You read the words and you build it and construct it. It doesn't have to be a complete picture to get the feel of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're your own director. Like, when you're reading
Yeah.
the book, you get to direct it as and how you see fit. So, you know, I mean, one of the things that I always have a gripe with of book covers, I'm also an illustrator and designer. So one of my gripes with book covers is when I see the person on the cover. If it's an illustrated novel, graphic novel, that's fine. Like, that makes sense. But, like, one of the things, like, I really don't like seeing the person, because then I can't imagine them. And also there's like limits to this. So, like, for example, some of Jasper Ford's Thursday Next series, there's these beautiful illustrations in them. I can't remember the name of the artist right now, but
Future Orphan here, I believe the artist P. Rose was referring to was Bill Mudron. Back to the podcast.
he did these absolutely brilliant illustrations within the story. But what I really liked about it, it was all in like just like sketch format, black and white kind of thing. So even though, and like, it was very cartoony, so it didn't feel like it was imposing upon my image of the character. And I think the, you know, there is a certain point where you abstract it enough that you can get away with having a person on the, like, a part of the story. So one of my favourite authors recently had a bunch of her books put in the shops, and they changed the covers for it. And they have these illustrated, but quite highly illustrated, characters on them. And I found myself upset at this because I had read these books before they had this, and I didn't imagine the characters that way. And so it can just really like create a distance between the reader and the author's intent, because somebody might imagine it one way when it's not really, like, you know, how the author's imagining it. And that's the beauty of books, is that you can interpret it however you want. So to push that upon someone just doesn't feel fair.
I think this is really a supreme quality of books.
Yeah.
As you said, the reader being their own director, and the pitfall being of that when somebody puts their vision on it, it conflicts with what you have in your mind.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the things why the book is always better, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That is absolutely the root of why the book is better, because it's rare for it to hit your expectation of what you had thought when you read the book. When you look at the movie, like, say, Lord of the Rings, which was a fantastic adaptation in the movies, is incredible. Like,
Yep.
but obviously the books are great, have great detail. You know, there's so much
Exactly.
missing from the Lord of the Rings films, even just for the sake of brevity, but especially just in the characters and the time. There's a lot of changes. You know, and I think plenty of people were like, "This is a terrible," you know, I hate this compromise or that compromise.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's your interpretation that makes a world really rich.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's a lot of what it really makes Tolkien popular as well, is that it was such a rich world for people to dive into, and they made their own imagination.
Do you know much about the making of it? Because he went like intense about it. He made like a whole language. He like had massive, and like, I know we did illustrations and stuff, but he created a language for the elves. He like had so many illustrations and stuff for it that like he really got into it himself. And like, as we know, that's kind of what you do as an author. Like, you get into it,
He
but like
really
he
went
went
hard on
so
the world
hard.
building, and it shows, and for the better. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not a huge fan
Yeah.
of the new Lord of the Rings. I have not read the books cover to cover at all. I've not even read
Yeah.
a single book from start to finish. But you definitely appreciate the world.
Yeah. I read one of them, I think. Yeah.
And it has gone on to inspire so much, even though he took a lot of folklore
It
and a
has,
lot
yeah.
of,
He did, yeah.
you know, a lot of inspiration from things in the real world. But he has created something that has been the template for classic fantasy for ages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, completely. I mean, like, he's such an important influence in all fantasy and writing in general, I think, that, you know, but this is the thing, like, as an author, you go so intensely into the world. As much as, like, you know, it is your world, once it goes out to the reader, it belongs to the reader as much as it belongs to you, you know? So, like, you know, you don't have that that kind of same authority, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And this is a good thing to keep in mind when editing, because sometimes you want to just keep on adding more and more, and you want to cover scenes that happened with different characters. You want to have connective tissue where you're like, oh, I'd love to cover the journey of where Larkin walks from this place to the other place, or Amelia is here. And just sometimes it's less is more, because you leave the reader's imagination. Same with the how the character looks, going back to the start. Like, we want a strong image initially for the reader to latch onto, but then we kind of want to let them fill in the gaps, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, they have the joy of like deciding how they look.
Get the detail, they get to direct, yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're gonna head off now. There are pets in here, running around and attacking each other. So I'm gonna. Oh my God, Thomas. But yeah, okay. Thank you all for listening. I hope you're enjoying the story, and let us know what you think. Like, I'm really interested in your feedback. Yeah. So hungry for it. Give me all your feedback. But yeah, and yeah, we'll definitely be back next week with another app.
Yep. Hopefully we'll catch you in the next episode.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. This episode was written, produced and performed by R. Finn and P. Rose. Thank you to Alex Grohl, who created the music within this episode. If you would like to support the Cinderbury Chronicles and our writing, please consider sharing this episode or purchasing a copy of Copper Hollow, available on Amazon or Kindle. If Copper Hollow is not available in your region, please contact us at copperhollowbook@gmail.com. Your time, engagement and feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for listening.